Hi everyone, it's Paul from SimCoach, and today we have a lap of Road Atlanta in the LMP2. So the lap time was a 109.952. Couple of little mistakes in it, but for all intents and purposes, it's good enough. So I'm going to play the lap from the outside view first, then I'll play it from the cockpit, and then I'll run through the lap and go through what we're looking for. Enjoy. Cool. So that's our lap to 109.952. So let's go through what we're looking for. So obviously we're going flat into T1, and then what you can actually cut a little bit of this grass to just give yourself a bit of a better entry. So as you see there, just take a little bit of it. You can't take too much of it because you'll get a 1x if you do. And we're basically just trying to open up this corner as much as we can. So I basically get out of the throttle kind of what feels like about halfway down this gap, and then little kind of trail in. You only need a little bit of brake here, so about 20-30%. Trail it in, and you just want to nibble this curb. You don't want to smash this curb because it can unsettle the car. So just a little nibble. And there's a lot of compression here where it's at the bottom of the hill, so we can get on the gas really, really early and just kind of let the car work. You'll notice I'm not fighting the steering wheel. It's just one kind of constant steering angle going in. So yeah, this is taken in fourth as well, and then we change up to fifth at the top. And we want to kind of bring the car back over to the middle of the track so that we can open this out a little bit because it's quite blind up here. So we want to turn in and then start braking kind of way before the curb. There isn't really a marker here, but you want to be basically lining the car up so you can kind of nibble the end of this curb. And it's yeah, fair bit of braking input, and we want to aim to turn in kind of towards the end of this curb, and then that should mean that you can cut enough of this curb without getting a 1x. You could probably take a little bit more than that, but there's not much in it. So just show that again from the outside. Just a little nibble of that curb, and then we're turning at the end of it. And as soon as we jump over that curb, we want to be getting back into the throttle. We use this curb on the inside to help rotate the car and get the car around. So you'll notice it just kind of sucks the car around the corner. So patient on the throttle and then full gas, and then it's flat all the way through here. You can take this curb as well, it's up to you, it doesn't really matter too much. Take that curb and then into turn 5. It's very much a case you need to just practice this corner, because the way the car bounces off this curb can be quite random, and it's tough. Turn 5 is pretty brutal. So I like to basically line the car up so that I'm going straight onto this curb, and I start braking long before I get there, and not a lot of brake, just kind of 30%-ish. You notice the car's rattling around, and then you just got to just relax your hands and just let the kind of steering wheel do its thing. The car will get round. You can use this curb on the inside as well, and just kind of ride the bumps, really. It's a tough old corner, this one. So I'm basically lining it up so the car's straight, bounce off the curb, chuck it in, use the curb on the inside, and then you can use all of this runoff out here. The car will bounce around, but you just don't fight it, because if you fight the steering wheel, you'll end up in the wall over here. Just kind of relax your hands as much as possible and let the bumps do their thing. And get back on the track before the grass here, because otherwise you'll get an off track. And then down into 6. So I'm looking for the white line here. We want to line the tyres up on the outside of the car onto the white line to make the car as wide, to make the track as wide as possible. Quite a heavy brake, and then we want to nibble this curb on the inside, because this will help pull the car around. And then we can get on the gas kind of as soon as we hit this curb, but we've got to be patient with it. And then we want to get back out of it as soon as we get near this curb on the outside, and get back on the brakes and really go down to first. You can use quite a lot of this curb, but not too much. If you go any further than that, it will kind of launch the car upwards, and you'll understeer. So it's all about patience here, really. It's just about kind of quite a heavy brake, trailing it off. Once you know you're going to hit the curb, you can get back on the gas slightly, and then brake, turn in towards the end of this curb, maybe just 1 or 2 little chevrons off of it, get her in, and then really patient on the throttle on the way out, because the car will try and kick the rear round where you're in first gear. You've got a lot of torque, so really patient on the throttle here. Once you're starting to get lined up, you can see I was fighting it a little bit. Once you start getting towards the straight line, that's when you can start putting the gas in. And then I like to hug the white line here, go over the hill, use the downhill on the other side. Then going into the chicane, what we are looking for is, so there's a couple of things that I do here. So rather than staying on the outside here, I like to stay in the middle of the track. And then what we're looking for is the first white line. So we want to brake just before that. So in the car, it looks like we're just before it, we start braking. And where we're in the middle of the track, we basically point the car towards that curb on the outside. So we're kind of braking in like a diagonal line. And we can get all of the brake pedal. Once we touch that curb on the outside, we turn her in, still trail braking all the way in. And you can actually cut a little bit more of this than I did here. You can kind of get almost to over here. So you want to use as much of that as you can, and by turning in later, the more chance you've got of not getting an off track. Because what we want to do here is we want to be as far over to the left as we can, rather than letting the car kind of go towards the grass over here. We want to stay as far over here as we can, so we can open up the second bit. So we get all of our braking done, and and then we get back on the gas, lift out again to get the car to rotate. So we just use a little bit of lift off oversteer. So we time the getting off the throttle with turning it right. You can use all of this curb on the inside, and then full gas on the way out. Use all of the exit curb. I'll just show this again from the cockpit view. So we're looking for the white line, braking in a diagonal line towards the curb. Once we get near the curb, tip her in, and then lift out of it and go back into it to get the car to rotate. And then we're flat all the way out here. And then for the last corner, I see a lot of people going really wide here. All you're doing there is kind of making the car, making the track longer. So kind of keep it towards like the middle of the track, and just keep your steering constant. The car won't lose any speed, and you're not pressuring the tyres too much. So just show that from the outside. Just stay towards the middle left of the track. And there it is. There's your lap of Road Atlanta. So, yeah, I'll see you guys on tomorrow for the coaching session and see what we can do. Cheers, fellas.